All right, thanks for joining us today. We are going to take a look at Emperor Vulcan and Binary from the House of X set. These are two great figures. We're going to look at them, review their powers and abilities. Then we're going to do some examples of how they can be teamed up together and then give them a competitive rating based on what they do. Let's get right to it. We're going to look at Emperor Vulcan first. He is number 37B, the rare prime of the set. He's coming in with the Imperial Guard, Shi'ar, Cosmic, and Roller keywords. He has two starting lines, 175 and 90. He has a great trait, which is Pulse Wave. And then Emperor Vulcan can reduce penetrating damage and has protected Pulse Wave. So let's look at that trait just by itself. Traded Pulse Wave, always great. He has high attack values throughout his dial with only 3 clicks of 10s. Aside from that, it's 11s and 12s. The ability to reduce penetrating damage paired with Impervious means he's going to have a chance to roll out of that penetrating damage. So that's, in my opinion, that's even better than Invincible because you have the rollout. So the ability to reduce penetrating with Impervious is fantastic. Aside from the Impervious, the rest of his dial has Invulnerability. So he's going to be reducing 2 penetrating damage on all those other clicks. He has the Cosmic Energy team ability, so he is protected from Outwit also. So that means that those reducers are going to make him very durable on the battlefield. His special defense power is a stop click with invulnerability. So not only is he going to be reducing the penetrating damage, but then your opponent is going to have to deal with 1 or 2 stop clicks depending on the point value that you start him at. And he has a special damage power, which is leadership. And also, when another friendly character that shares a keyword KOs an opposing character, after resolutions, remove an action token from that character and Emperor Vulcan. So if your teammate, if you put them on a theme team, it doesn't have to be a named keyword, so it could be a cosmic theme team. That's what we're going to look at today. And that teammate KOs an opposing character, the teammate removes an action token, and Vulcan removes an action token. He also has the willpower through that Cosmic Energy team ability, so he's going to have chances to attack every turn if your teammates are KOing people. The rest of his dial is super solid, so let's break that down. At 175, you're getting 10 clicks. He has an 8 range dual target. He flies. He has willpower through his team ability. His movement is starting with, at 175, you're starting with run and shot. At 90, it's hypersonic, and then the end of his dial, it's sidestep. So you have move and attack of some variety on every click of his dial. On his attack powers, you're going to have Pensai, then Precision Strike, and then no attack power at the end of his dial on his last click. But those attack values are going to be a 12 if you start him at 175, an 11 if you start him at 90. Then he has those few clicks of 10 and then back up to a 12 on his last click, which is also a stop click. So very strong attack values throughout. His defense is a 19, going to 18s and then 17s. So pretty good throughout his dial also. His damage is 4 for 9 clicks if you start him at 175, and then he bumps up to a 5 at the end. So very solid damage output. And remember, that's going to be teamed up with traded Pulse Wave. So on the top dial, you can run and shot Pulse Wave with a 12 attack and a 4 damage if you can get a single target. That reach there would be run and shot, so you would half the 11 into a 6, and then you would half, since it's pulse wave, you would also cut your range in half, so it would make it a 4. So he basically has a 10 reach to try to get a single target pulse wave with a 12 attack for 4 damage, just base, without any additional perplexes or anything else that you're adding to him. So that's really good. 175 is a little bit costly, but with 2 stop clicks and what he brings, it's completely doable. And we're going to look at him on a competitive build that I think would have some value. At 90 points, you're starting with hypersonic. So you could hypersonic in, make your attack. Then if he can take the hit, then you can follow up with pulse wave next turn. You'll notice he also has 2 clicks there of ranged combat expert on click 8 and 9. Those would be your 3rd and 4th click if you start him at the lower point value. So that can get those 10 attacks up to 12, or you could be getting your damage up to 6s on ranged combat expert, depending on what the match calls for. Okay. Next up is Binary. She's number 72, one of the chases out of this set. And she has also 2 starting values. We're going to look at that in detail, but let's look at her keywords. She comes in with Avengers, Starjammers, X-Men, Cosmic, and Soldier. So Avengers has all kinds of different team builds you can put her on. X-Men has a bunch, and Cosmic is what we're going to look at today on a competitive side. She also has 2 starting clicks. She's coming in at 175 or 100. And she has a very strong dial also. Let's take a look at her trait. She has Binary has protected pulse wave. That's all capital protected. Once per turn, when she KOs an opposing standard character with an attack, after resolution, she can use pulse wave at no cost as if she occupied a square the KO character occupied. So that's really good. And let's see how that combines with the powers on her dial. So she's going to start, if you start her at 175, she starts with hypersonic and pulse wave, and she's going to have protected pulse wave. And we're going to see how that combines with the team build of her and Vulcan together. But if she KOs somebody, then she can use pulse wave again at no cost as if she occupied the square of the KO'd character. So you could hypersonic in, just do your regular attack with 4 damage, just base. If that KOs a standard character, it can't be a bystander, so it has to be a standard character, then you could pulse wave from the square that they were in. If you start her at her 100 points, she's starting with run and shot, and then her special attack power is energy explosion, pen psi, and poison. So at that starting value, you could run and shot in with a 4 damage penetrating psychic blast. If that KOs somebody, then from that square, you can follow up with a pulse wave, which is extremely good for 100 points or for 175. 175, you could be getting a hypersonic attack, or if you're already in position, you could be getting 2 pulse waves in the same turn, potentially. At the 100 points, you could be getting a pen psi running shot, and then potentially follow up with a pulse wave. So those are 2 great types of attacks in the same turn. Okay, let's look a little bit closer at what she has. She's coming in with an 8 range dual target. She flies. She also has the X-Men team ability and the power cosmic or cosmic energy. So she's going to have willpower through that, and she's going to be protected outwit. Then we already talked about she's protected pulse wave. If you start her at 175, she comes in with 8 clicks. If you start her at 100, she comes in with 4 clicks, but they're pretty strong ones. At the 175, she's starting out with an 11 movement hypersonic. She has an 11 attack pulse wave. Now remember, you can't combine pulse wave with the hypersonic, but that's a great follow-up after you hypersonic in. or if somebody's trying to close the distance on you. She has 18 defense with Invincible, moves into Impervious, and then ends with Invulnerability. So she has reducers on her complete dial. That Hypersonic turns into Run and Shot, or it starts at Run and Shot at the 100 point value. So she has move and attack throughout her dial. 175, she's starting with 4 damage with Prob. That 4 stays throughout her dial except for the last click, which moves on to a 3. The defense values are 18 throughout the dial with just 2 clicks of 17, and her attack values are 11s with the last 3 clicks being 10. So solid movement, a great range, solid attack values, strong defense, and very good damage throughout her dial. So she, I think, is pretty good. 100 points is what we're going to look at today with the team up part. And let's take a look at how you can team her up. Again, her range, if you start her at that 100 points, she'll be Run and Shot for 6 movement and then an 8 range. So you're getting a 14 reach with dual target if needed and pen psi, and then the potential for a follow-up pulse wave from that character square within 4, because you would cut your range in half. So that can cause all kinds of damage to your opponent. All right, we're going to take a look at how we can team up Vulcan and Binary. We're going to look at Binary at her 100 points, Vulcan at 175. They're both cosmic, and it leaves you 25 more points left for a standard 300 build. So you can do a couple different things with that. They both have protected pulse wave. So let's quickly review what that means so you can see how that interacts with what they are bringing to the team. So protected pulse wave in the pack, it says this character can't be targeted or damaged by the specified effects. If this character was targeted by the effect's duration, if any, immediately expires. If the specified effect is outwit or pulse wave, their can't be used doesn't apply to this key phrase. So this character cannot be targeted by pulse wave. Now, pulse wave, let's quickly review what it says. Pulse wave, and we're going to pay close attention to the first part to see how you can interact the two characters. So pulse wave, you give a range power, range action, and you half your range. You pick up improved targeting characters and adjacency. Now, improved targeting characters means that lines of fire drawn by this character are not blocked by characters. So even though you don't target, you won't be able to target your friendly character with this because they're protected, but your line of fire can go right through them. So you can get single targets. You can also use it to kind of put a character shield in front of you and do your pulse wave through that protected character. So there's a couple different types of interactions going on. We're going to look at a couple today, but it's really cool when you get a couple characters that have protected pulse wave and the power pulse wave, because then it can, once you're familiar with how to run it, that can really throw off your opponent on the way lines of fires and pulse waves and protected works. All right, but let's look at this one. So again, Emperor Vulcan is starting at 175, Binary at 100. We're going to do an example where they're going against God Doom and a couple Doom bots. On this map, you'll see that our team is in a room with the walls around them. We got a Doom bot over on the right side behind some blocking, hiding out in the hindering. We have another Doom bot kind of blocking the opening of the room that God Emperor Doom is at. And God Doom is hiding up in a pretty well protected corner. All right, in this example, we would start with Binary doing her run-in shot since she's at the 100 point value. She can run in there 6 squares. Then she is going to pen psi onto the Doombot. If she hits, that should be enough to KO the Doombot. And then she can pulse wave for free after resolutions from that square that the Doombot was in. Okay, and that would be a single target pulse wave since that other Doombot is behind the block-in. So that would be a 4-range single target pulse wave. We could follow that up now that Binary has done her run-in shot. She's in there. Emperor Vulcan is on his starting click, which is also run-in shot with a 6 movement and an 8 range. So that can get him into that same room. He would have a 4-range pulse wave. So we're going to run-in shot pulse wave. Now, usually that would be hitting 2 people, his opponent and his teammate. But Binary is protected pulse wave. So this becomes a single target pulse wave also into God Emperor Doom. So that's a lot of damage that you can deal out with just those 2 characters on this type of setup. Now let's look on how these 2 characters can also work against kind of a one-man army or a tent pole type of team where you might not have that other character to KO for Binary to trigger the free pulse wave. So even without the free pulse wave, she's coming in with a run-in shot pen psi 4 damage. So it's getting through reducers except for invincible. And it isn't going to, since she's protected pulse wave, it's not going to mess up your follow-ups with Emperor Vulcan and his pulse wave. So in this example, let's see, we have God Emperor Doom over there and some hindering terrain. We are going to start with run-in shot pen psi. So she's run-in shot. She's going to target God Emperor Doom. If she hits, then that's going to be dealing out the 4 penetrating damage. Okay, then Emperor Vulcan can follow up with his run-in shot. Now again, he doesn't have to worry about Binary messing up the number of targets. So you can use him to get right in there and tie up God Emperor Doom and then hit him with Pulse Wave, because Pulse Wave you can also target out of adjacency. And keep in mind, Emperor Vulcan can reduce penetrating damage. So he's very durable with the 2 stop clicks. And Binary as kind of the where she can run around and shoot, she's going to be his follow-up type of piece. So he can be there taking the damage and throwing the strong hits, and then she can be pinging them from outside or hitting them hard if they don't have invincible. So on the competitive side, I think this actually has some potential. I know that they're both a little bit higher cost, but if you're going to go the route of a competitive team that's kind of a tent pole, I think this has some merit to it. Pulse Wave with protected Pulse Wave teammates is super strong. Again, you have 25 more points that you can use to build into this. Let me know in the comments below what you would use those 25 points for. I have some ideas, but I wanted to leave it out there to see with this main piece, these main 2 pieces, what other little adjustments you would make to try to put them over the top. You have a ton of damage output. With 2 characters, you don't have to worry about like Spider-Man 1776 cutting down your action total, because all you need is 2 actions for these 2 to be doing a bunch of damage. That Pulse Wave can take care of most figures, and their Cosmic Energy gives them some protection. 2 stop clicks on your big attacker is super good. And the ability to reduce penetrating damage on top of that really should get some use out of him. He'll be throwing out a ton of damage. All right, I gave them a rating of 3.5 as they stand now. I'd like to play test it to see how it works out and what different things you can add in there for that 25 points, but I think it's real solid. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. If so, make sure you like and let me know what you think down in the comments below. And if you try this team out competitively, let me know how it goes. I think it has potential, so hopefully it's sparked your imagination also on how you can use them and how the protected pulse wave can be combined and how that operates on the battlefield. All right, thanks for watching. Check it out. If you dig what we do, go ahead and like and subscribe. Thanks for watching.